let's make lemonade. Okay. Let's go to work.
Stop! That's the signal! Go! Go! Six! It's beautiful! Mother Nature just pissed her pants, dude!
Start your day with a jolt of energy and no-holds-barred opinions. This is The Rush, where Travis Justice and Ross Peterson bring you bold, unfiltered, and uncensored takes on sports, life, and everything in between. Buckle up and let's go.
And running with The Rush Radio here on TheRushRadio.com. Justin Miller hopping in with us today to wrap up a Friday and a fun week. Justin is live down in St. Louis. What's up, buddy? How are you?
I'm doing really good. I can't complain about being able to watch just like 20 hours of straight basketball. Live in St. Louis? Hell yeah.
A boy living his dream yesterday is what Justin was experiencing down in St. Louis. All right, man, we can dive right into that if you want. I mean, I kind of wanted to BS with you for a little while.
No, I'm fine with BS for us.
So, like, everybody buckle up for a little while. It's going to be a rough ride. So you, Justin, you saw the whole 5-minute countdown, right?
Yes.
And then I went in, I fired up my YouTube TV, and I'm like, well, the hell? We're not on the air.
Hell?
What the hell? And, yeah, it turned out I needed to hit a few more buttons there. So luckily, Owen is back at the mothership in Omaha, Nebraska. We've got Justin live in St. Louis. I'm in Des Moines hitting buttons.
And I have crappy internet, so let's hope.
Let's hope. You're going to be all right. You're going to be okay. All right, we're doing that too. All right, Justin, thanks so much for giving us time today, brother. We're probably going to do this a couple times. Again, I'm still figuring this out, so we're still turning stuff on. Owen, thanks so much, buddy. All right, let's talk. App should be working. Rob just wrote in, said the app wasn't working. I think we fired that up the right way. Again, trying to get there, fellas. Let me know in that chat if things are working for you, because I'm hearing Justin, and I know that some of you are hearing us. YouTube's working fine. That's good. So, again, we're just going to troubleshoot this thing as we go, fellas. As you see some issues, fire them in the chat there, and we'll try to get it going. The app should be working here shortly here. I'm hoping for you, Mick. All right, Justin, let's fire off with what's happening down there in Arch Madness. Man, you saw 4 basketball games yesterday, and now we have a better idea what's going to happen today.
Yeah, so you had all the first round action, that Pack Thursday in Arch Madness, a place where Drake fans used to have to go quite a bit, but luckily in the past few years, been out of those Thursday games. The first one was the best one by far, that Indiana State SIU game, back and forth. It was a call and response type game where one team hit a 3, it would be 2 seconds later, another team would hit a 3. So that one was really fun, and the winner of that one will play Drake. So the winner was SIU, and they just won because they were able to force Indiana State star player Samaj Teal, who had been so good all year long, to shoot probably his worst game I've ever seen him shoot in an Indiana State uniform. He still had 10 points, but he was like 5 of 18. He was not looking comfortable. Every shot he had to work for. But yeah, that was the best one by far. You had Illinois State dominate Missouri State. So Missouri State's out of the Missouri Valley now for good. They're gone now.
Yeah.
Yep. That's their final one. They're going to Conference USA, I believe.
They're headed to Conference USA out of the Valley?
I believe so. I always forget exactly which conference they go to. But yeah, that one, I mean, they've had a long history in the Valley, and I always enjoyed, they always brought in big centers. And in junior high and high school, when I was playing basketball, I was put at that forward center position. So I always liked watching those players. And Missouri State always got some big, 7-foot dude that weighed 280 and would just bully Drake players at the time. It'll be interesting
Brody
to see what the bracket looks like. Oh, dude, Brody, he's playing overseas now.
Oh,
which
is he
I'm happy
really?
for.
I'm not surprised
Yeah,
by that, man. That senior year, he really kind of came into his own, started to like find that body because the guy's built like a mountain.
he's built like a defensive lineman.
Yeah,
How he didn't play football is beyond me.
I'm glad
But
he's playing overseas. That's good.
Yeah, he is playing overseas. Roman Penn is playing overseas. And then since we're talking about SU, I think people remember Marcus Domask because he went on to play for Illinois last year. He's overseas as well. So Valley's starting to try to grow out there in the professional side of things. But yeah, yesterday was fun, dude. I can't complain about this at all.
I was gonna I thought the last game of the night was Murray State and Evansville, but there was one after that because again I kind of shut the Valley off, started watching the Hawks, which we'll get to. But Murray State took care of Evansville, and then the last game of the night was the one that would determine who UNI was going to play tonight, right?
Yeah, UIC and Belmont, and UIC year long. UIC and Belmont, two teams are the epitome of live by the three, die by the three, where you look on paper and they're top three in offensive production and then bottom two in defensive production. UIC last night shot 24%, struggled on every facet, and Valpo on the other hand, they looked so comfortable. Just gets to the point where you're watching a team be so fluent offensively where it's like, okay, is there not even anyone out there? Are they in a practice scrimmage right now? So Valpo will play UNI. Valpo 2 straight years now making the quarterfinals as an 11th seed. So impressive. They have some young stars that in a few years they could be pretty good.
All right, Justin. So now today's your fun day. I mean, you got down there last night. You got to watch some basketball. That wasn't that important, right? I mean, that was for fun. Today is when the work starts. Noon tip-off with Drake and Southern Illinois, and then an 8:30 game tonight with UNI. First, let's talk about the Salukis.
Yeah, so Megan and I, the other night, were watching the new Gladiator, which was okay. But that can be another podcast if you want. If you want me to break down Gladiator 2, I can do it now. But though they have those Roman dogs, and Megan's like, are those fake? What are those? I was like, why do I feel like I know the name of these dogs out of nowhere? Like useless information. And then yesterday they're playing and they're like, now welcome to the court, the Salukis. And I was like, oh, that's the name. So I texted Megan right away. I was like, Salukis are Roman dogs. But so, yeah, yesterday was fun. Today they take on the Salukis. Sorry, I got off on a weird tangent
Justin,
there.
This is one of those things again. You and I have talked about this a lot, and we talk about it a lot when we've been on the air together. We're so much alike.
Yeah,
because
that was a Ross Peterson moment.
That was absolutely a move that I would pull right there. I was intrigued by that. I was like, oh yeah, and then I hear it and I'm like, I wonder who else cares about that. Yeah,
yeah, and then
Justin,
like
Justin,
it's one of those. I was 4 words into my sentence, and in the back of my head, it's like, stop talking.
Dude, that's every sentence I have. Every sentence I start, it's like, nobody cares. What are you doing? Yeah. All right. So, what is obviously Drake has to get a win today. When we talked to Jeff Goodman, they have to win the tournament to get in. There's a slim chance that if they get to that championship game and lose to maybe Belmont, that they could get an at-large bid. But you pretty much have to win your way there. Okay. So I know what the answer is win, but besides winning, what do you as a Drake fan need to see from this team today?
I want to see, so Davion Banks, he's been incredible during the second half of the regular season and into the conference tournament. He won 6th Player of the Year in the Missouri Valley. He's going to have a big test because he's going to be more than likely guarding SIU's best player in Ali Deba. He's a senior guard, 205, so he's built. And yesterday, watching that Indiana State game, what impressed me was his ability to get a first step on the defenders. I mean, when he's at the top of the key extended, if it's one-on-one, he's taking that matchup 10 times out of 10. And he's really strong, but he has a touch with the basketball, and Tavion Banks will more than likely be coming in to help guard him. So I think that's going to be huge. The last time these two teams played, Drake won, but he still had a huge game in Deba. I think he had 20 points. So it's going to come down to, can they slow him down a little bit? You're not going to stop him. And then make free throws. Indiana State went to the free throw line 24 times and missed 9 of them, and they lose by 1. So you see that, and it's almost like it's highlighted or bolded on the box sheet when you get it, because you're like, oh, you lose by 1. You just need to make free throws. They're free. Well, can't miss those. Come on now. I sound like my dad. It's so funny. I have moments watching those.
You do sound like an older person. You do sound like a previous generation.
Free throws.
You know the story of Rick Barry? Do you know Rick Barry?
Oh, the granny shot dude? Yeah.
The granny shot dude. The granny shot dude. His son was Canyon Barry, who used to do the granny shots for the Iowa Wolves.
Yeah, he played at Florida.
Yeah, very good player. Yeah, played in the NBA, played for the Wolves for several years, and always shot granny-style free throws. His dad, Rick Barry, did that same thing. His dad was known for wanting to fight teammates when they missed free throws. One of his things that I love so much, Rick Barry would be like, why, when a guy misses a free throw now, does he get a high five from every one of his teammates? A guy shoots a free throw, the ball isn't even to the rim yet, and he's already turning around like, all right, hey guys, I need 4 people to tell me I'm okay. Well, 4 guys, please tell me I'm all right. And he's like, and Rick Barry was the guy that was like, you just missed a free point.
He's putting on the boxing gloves.
All right. Guy's intense, man.
He doesn't play. He doesn't play. That is so much my dad, though. We're watching games, and he'll be like, why do they high five? Why high five? I'm like, because your teammates, need to pick me up. Nope, not high fiving.
I'm with your dad on this. I'm with Rick Barry on this. You missed a shot. What are we congratulating you for? And it's every player, every game. It happens at every level. You miss a free throw, you got to high five all 5 guys on the court. You have to walk back to center court. The one dude that's back there playing defense, he's got to come up. Hey, man, it's okay that you missed that. Good luck with the next one. Give me the ball. Let me shoot again.
And the bad thing is, like, it's starting to turn in. Know the scene from Reservoir Dogs at the beginning where Mr. Pink's explaining why he doesn't tip? And everyone's like, how do you do that? And then Mr. Orange is like, you know what? Actually, give me my money back. I'm starting to get to that point with high-fiving at the free throw line. At first, I'm like, no, they're teammates. You have to support each other. And the more I have this conversation, the more I'm like, give me my money back. Actually, don't high-five.
All right, so we know Drake and Southern Illinois at noon. You'll have a couple other games that lead up to the nightcap tonight when UNI and Valpo play at 8:30. Same sort of situation for UNI here. I mean, it sucks that we've got both teams in that situation. Winner gets to move on. What does UNI have to do against Valpo tonight?
Valpo is one of the bigger teams in the Valley. Cooper Schwieger was the reigning freshman of the year. They have the freshman of the year, and get this name, probably one of the best basketball names I've ever heard. Freshman guard, All Right. Yeah, that's a good name, isn't it? All Right. I like it. Maybe you don't. I like it.
Is it AHL?
No, it's ALL.
I'd have done AHL. All.
Just make it really weird.
Yeah, right. But yes, of course, I'd make it more weird. That's exactly what I would do. That's exactly what I do. All right. I remember a kid when I was calling wrestling at Grandview. He didn't wrestle for Grandview. Grandview's very first national champion wrestler was named Matt Burns. Yeah,
I like it.
But my favorite ever, we're at the Grandview Open one day, and I'm calling bouts, and the bout sheet pops up, and it's like up next on mat 4, on deck on mat 4, from Southern Illinois, Justin Miller. From Missouri State, Willie Wrestle.
Will he wrestle? We don't know.
Swear to God, his last name was Wrestle. Ressle. Wrestle. His first name was Willie. Willie Wrestle. Okay? Now we're working at the I swear to you, I'm not making up a moment of this. I say, on deck on mat 4, Justin Miller and Willie Wrestle. And this kid walks up to the table and goes, "Yes, he will." And that was Willie. That was how he checked in at the table, was he would walk up and go, "Yes, he will."
We don't know if he wins or not, but he'll wrestle.
But he's going to wrestle. Will he wrestle? Yes, he will.
There needs to be, there's got to be some sort of laws to what you can name a child, right?
No, there's not. Oh, man. My ex-wife worked in a labor and delivery center, and she would come home with the craziest stories. Craziest stories. You know, like for English language learners, Justin, they can see a word and think, "Oh, that would be a pretty name." But if you don't know what those words mean, I'm not making this up. What if a lady that was an English language learner saw this name and said, "Oh, that's a beautiful name. I'd like to name my daughter that." And somebody had to say, "No, that word is chlamydia."
Please tell me no one named their daughter chlamydia.
They didn't.
Okay.
They explained it to the lady. Said, "Hey, we don't do this."
Good.
You know, dude, our buddy Josh Fisher. Josh has a niece, because I've heard this one from time to time too. You know, the name a girl's name Isis was a very popular name back in like the late 90s.
I didn't know that.
There's a lot of girls, American girls with the name Isis.
That Gmail has to get flagged every day, right? Like you're just trying to send a regular like, "Hey boss, this is what I did this week," and they're like, "Oh, your email's getting flagged at ISIS1 Gmail."
But not the first time. I mean, you couldn't name a kid Adolf.
No. But at least that's not a pretty name.
Good point. They didn't take a good one from us. And then one day, Justin, I've tried to tell you guys that my brother is the world's greatest shithead. He is like the best version of a big brother you could ever have. It's like Disney wrote this character into my life. And he just he's the funniest dude. So one day, sorry, Tyler's like, "Focus, boys."
I know, I
Sorry,
just
Tyler,
saw that and I was like,
You let the ADHDers run the shit.
Said all right.
You're in trouble. Show up one day, my brother's having a party at his house, like just a family get together, right? And I walk in, he's got his back to me, and I'm like, "Hey, Brad, how you doing?" He goes, "Oh, I'm doing good." He turns around, dude, and he has shaved all of his mustache except for this. And I'm like, "What are you doing?" He goes, "What? It's a Charlie Chaplin."
One guy can't own facial hair.
Yeah, he can't
It's
ruin
style.
all of it. It's a Charlie Chaplin. No, it's not. No.
Go outside. Just go out for 2 seconds. So Valpo.
Justin Miller. What's that?
I said so Valpo.
Yeah, so Valpo. Yeah, Justin Miller's live in St. Louis at his hotel down there. We've got we do have Owen Justice running the ship for us back in Omaha. So big thanks to Owen, and hopefully Travis will join us. Travis is hoping that he's going to land and maybe be able to join us. He's going to be landing in Munich here right before 8 o'clock. So if we're lucky, we'll get Trav for the last couple minutes of the program. I was hoping that you and I would get a chance to chat with Charles Zanders. Charles is the athletic director or director of activities, whatever they're called now, the athletic director at Hoover High School. We mentioned last Friday that the news came out that Hoover doesn't have the numbers to participate in football this year, so those athletes are going to play football at Roosevelt. And I just wanted to talk to Z about what the future kind of looks like at Hoover, what needs to happen to, is it possible that you get back to playing football at Hoover High School, or is it better to, is this the beginning of many dominoes to fall? So we'll hope to hook up with Charles Anders probably next week. I called him last night. He was going to try. He's got to clear the ability to go on with us through a lot of different loops, and so hopefully we'll get him on. The one thing we are going to do. This is a long tease. This is the payoff from a long tease, Justin. Like one of the very first shows that we did, Travis was in Los Alamos, and he found out when he was at the Los Alamos testing site that Ames, Iowa, was a big part of the Manhattan Project. That the uranium used in the atom bombs was enriched in Ames, Iowa, at this little tiny building called Little Ankeny on the campus of Ames of Iowa State University. This young lady from Ames named Brittany Prater made a documentary called Uranium Derby. Okay, and so Travis just mentioned this thing about Ames. We started diving into it. A listener of ours wrote in and said, "My grandpa died from cancer because of the exposure to the uranium in Ames." And my grandma was interviewed for this documentary. So I tracked down the documentary. It's fascinating. Fascinating.
What is it on?
Ames, it's on Vimeo right now. We're going to talk to the lady that made the documentary. And Justin, I'm kind of glad you haven't seen it because I want you to be able to ask questions about it too, being kind of ignorant about the situation.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, I've had friends tell me like, oh yeah, we were taught this the very first week at Iowa State. When you enroll at Iowa State and you go through your orientation, they tell you all about this. I've reached out to a lot of my Iowa State friends, and most of them have said, I had no idea about this. There's a little rock that sits on the campus right now, Justin, that has a plaque on it that says this is the site where 2 million pounds of uranium were enriched. 2 million pounds of uranium were enriched on the campus at Iowa State University. Do you know how much uranium it takes to make an atom bomb?
I thought 2 million would be enough.
The size of your thumb. It's wild, dude. And then we'll talk about all this with Brittany, but there are still dozen or more toxic waste sites on the campus of Iowa State University. Wild. So anyway, we'll talk about all that. Brittany's going to join us around 7 o'clock. I thought that would be that's the payoff for a long time. I wanted to do it while Travis was here. That didn't work out. Brittany's going to join us, and we'll talk about that. All right, Justin. Hawkeye basketball.
It sounds like I missed a good one.
You know, you missed probably the best 8-minute, 10-minute stretch of basketball that I've seen that team play all year. I would love to hear from Hawkeye fans if you felt that same way. In that first half, Justin, they went on a run from about the I could pull it up here. I'm going to say from about the 3-minute mark to about the 11-minute mark. Or I'm sorry, from the 17-minute mark down to like the 8-minute mark. They played some of the best basketball I've seen all year long. They were tight on defense. They're racing down the court. They're hitting shots. They're hitting threes. They're moving the ball well. There's energy. They're dunking. They're getting fast breaks. I mean, and again, this is against Michigan State. This is against one of the best teams in the Big Ten. The best team in the Big Ten. They just won their 11th regular season title under Izzo. And for about a 10-minute stretch there, Iowa was the better team. And there was a moment, it's like, man, I was trying to put my finger on what I was watching. Was this a situation where you're playing for your coach? Those we've said this over and over. Those players love Fran McCaffrey. We as fans might be done with Fran. I know I am. I'm ready for a change here. The players are certainly not. They don't seem to be. And last night, that's what it showed. Like, man, these dudes are out here to win one for the Gipper. They're going to send him out on a high note. Was this a situation like Evan Bronze last night played insane for a while? He was the best player on the court for a period of time. Is that a situation where a senior with his back against the wall. This happens when guys realize that the end is coming. Man, this other gear kicks in. Justin, you and I were talking about it before we went on the air. You do get this thing of like, I don't give a shit anymore. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna let it fly, and I'm gonna give this everything I've got because why not? This is the end of the road, and I think that part of what happened last night with the Hawkeye men was that where you're realizing that the train is reaching its last destination here, and you better give it everything you got. Just cut loose. And I don't know if that's what we saw last night with Evan Bronze but it was weird, man. For a 10-minute stretch, Iowa played their best basketball this season.
So, like, from my perspective, I didn't get to watch the game. I read about it, looked at the box score, saw that Iowa goes on that, I think it was like 22-2 run or whatever it was. They went on a huge run. What changed then in that second half when Michigan State, is that just Izzo being a Hall of Fame coach of adjusting, or was Iowa doing something wrong? What changed? What flipped in that second half where Iowa just couldn't get it done at the end?
Yeah, I mean, Justin, the cliche is they ran out of talent. They ran out of talent going down the backstretch. Michigan State was the better team. And so it just took time for Michigan State to grab hold of it, get back into the game. Because, man, at one point, Iowa looked like I was up by 10, pushing away. You get a couple of three-pointers from Michigan State back-to-back, and all of a sudden all that momentum's gone, and now you're back in a street fight with a guy who's tougher than you. All of it, Justin. Shots stopped falling. Defense, you're not getting back on defense as well. For a while, like the announcers even talked about this. For several possessions during that 10-minute period, Michigan State couldn't get the ball inside the arc. I mean, we're talking the shot clock would get down to 4 seconds, and Michigan State still trying to pass the ball around the perimeter and chuck up a desperation three. That happened multiple times in that first half during that stretch. And then in the second half, you just didn't see. There were moments like that, but nothing like that consistent defensive pressure that Iowa was able to do for a while. So, and Tony writes in, Michigan State did rotate 10 guys. So you're bringing in fresh legs. Iowa can't do that. Iowa plays 7-8 guys, right? We could look at the box score and see how many actually played significant minutes last night, but I felt like it was like 8 or 9.
Look at
that's
the
part
box.
of it. So all of those things pile up and just make it.
Where Michigan can
State
put
was
up,
the better
what was
team.
how
Knew
many
that
did they
going in.
put up in that second half? 60? Did they put up 60 points in that second half alone?
Wow, that would seem. I mean, 91-84, and it was 61.
Yeah,
It was 37-30 at halftime. 37-30 at halftime. Michigan State scored 61 in the second half.
that's why I was like, I get that State's the better team, but what happened? Like, what I broke and they put up 61. What happened,
dude? Hey, we're about to take a break, but I look at this guy. Look at this guy.
Hey,
What's up, Trav? Oh, we can't hear you. We can't hear you. Oh no.
How about if I do that?
There. Now we got you good, buddy. You're in Munich?
I just landed in Munich, Germany, an 8.5-hour flight. I was in the very back of the plane.
Like
I didn't get up to pee once.
Toilet?
No, they didn't have a toilet back there. I was more by the kitchen and the galley. So I was steerage. I was in the last row on my way to Chicago, last row on my way to Munich. Yeah, a little tired. I got 4.5 hours of sleep on the plane, which isn't bad.
Last row, Trav, because you were so late to
no, because I'm really cheap and I buy tickets to where my seat's not assigned until I get to the gate. That's how there's a science to this now. There's a science of getting to Europe very, very cheap. You have to make some sacrifices. It's when you fly, and you might have to say, hey, you don't have a seat until you show up at the gate. And that was me.
I thought, am I wrong? I thought that you were going to be landing like closer to 8. Why are you? It's 6:30 here.
Well, no, it's 1:35 here, so okay. I don't get to Florence until 4:30 this time. So I'm 7 hours ahead of you right now. So I had breakfast at like noon, because they give you breakfast on the way as you're landing. And it was just like, oh, okay. Yeah, okay. I'll eat breakfast now. I've had more carbs in the last 8 hours than I've had the last 6 months, because that's all they do is they load you up with carbs on these planes.
I love the German word behind him. You see it, Justin?
Yeah,
Dolphinziner. Dolphinziner.
Why is it that? And that's probably just like gift shop. But why does it sound so angry?
Yeah.
Like everything in
especially
German
when a
sounds
German
It's
says
a
it to
coffee
you,
shop, not a gift shop.
but it sounds
I couldn't
angry.
tell, Trav. Don't yell at me.
Sounds like angry coffee shop. That's what that translates to.
Yeah. German just sounds angry, though, doesn't it? It's like that in Russian. You just feel like you're getting yelled at all the time. Like, don't yell at me. Don't yell at me.
So, Trav, I will tell you, while you were flying last night, the Iowa men, it was bad, dude. It was bad. They had about a 10-minute stretch that was fantastic in the first half. And then
they were up at halftime, right? Because they were up 37-30 at half. I was watching in Chicago, and then I got on the plane, and it went downhill after that.
They gave up 61 points in the second half.
Ooh. That's the nail in the coffin, right? That's the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, it's got to be. And a lot of people are saying that. So after the game, Izzo, and Izzo and Fran are buddies, and they've always been real supportive of each other. And Izzo basically came out and said, you guys don't want to get rid of this guy. Yeah, we do.
Yeah, because he beats him.
Well, exactly. That's like an Iowa State fan saying, man, I really hope they give Fran a contract extension. I get it that they're buddies, and I get it that Fran is a respected coach in the coaching circles. Trav, they're not winning. There's no energy. There's nothing in the building. There's nothing around the program. There's no fire. There's no energy. It's absolutely time. It is universal amongst the fans. If they do announce that Fran is coming back next year, I don't even know how Hawkeye fans will react. I really don't. I think that you will have. There will be a bad reaction to that.
To me, we should take out, in our huge Rush Radio show budget, start taking out like billboards in Iowa City and say, why? Just why? Why are you doing this? Right? You deserve better. It's funny. It's not as bad as the look latter years, but this kind of feels like it, doesn't it?
That's a good way to put it, Trav. It's not as bad, but man, when you're not making the Big Ten tournament, and if you just look at the fan enjoyment, the fan engagement, I think is the right word. It does feel like the Licklider years. That's a good word.
Don't forget, this is the entertainment business, and if you're not entertaining people, then you get thrown on Rotten Tomatoes and get like a 22%, approval rating. So, because I'm a stickler for time, I know you got to take a break, Ross.
Yeah, we do. We do. We're running, but I saw you pop in. I thought instead of keeping you around, do you want to stick around with us?
I can do that. Yeah, if you want me to, I can do that.
Because the next half hour, I want to talk about Hawkeye basketball. There's a few other fun things. I am going to have that Brittany Prater from the Uranium Derby. She's going to join us at the top of the hour to just kind of talk to us about all that stuff. So non-sports related at the top of the hour. But
cool.
We get Trav to stick around. Justin Miller is with us in St. Louis. It's worldwide, baby. This is The Rush on therushradio.com, powered by Willis Automotive.
Spring is coming up.
Well, maybe.
Spring is coming up, and it's a time for cleaning and renewal. Get your spring cleaning started early with the fuel induction service from Land Rover Des Moines. This service cleans out carbon buildup and other deposits from the fuel injectors, intake valves, and combustion chambers. This service can improve fuel efficiency, performance, and power to make sure your Land Rover is ready for spring and summer travel. Right now, we are offering 10% off a fuel induction service, so give us a call or head online to LandRoverDesMoines.com.
Is something in your attic keeping you up at night? Don't let unwanted guests take over your home. With over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's trusted expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly wildlife solutions at a fair price. We safely remove bats, squirrels, raccoons, birds, and more so you can sleep soundly again. For a free estimate, call Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions today at 515-218-3400.
You've dreamed about an absolutely organized garage or closet? See it for yourself at Absolute Garage & Closet's beautiful showroom in Urbandale. See the latest in garage storage, custom closet systems, and epoxy flooring applications up close, and imagine how good it will feel to have your garage, closets, or other spaces absolutely organized. Free consultations, friendly service, and quick project turnarounds, Absolute Garage & Closets is ready to bring peace of mind into your home. Visit Absolute Garage & Closets at 3169 99th Street in Urbandale or at absolutegarage.net.
Missing a quality, home-cooked meal? You know, the kind Mom used to make? Lucky for you, we found her recipe book. Welcome to the High Life. Welcome to the Champagne of Bars.
You know, Brian, at Central City, we really do have the best selection around.
I know, high-quality stuff you can't find anywhere else.
Whistle Pig Plantation Rum.
Yeah, and over 150 of the best scotches on earth.
And a ton of bitters, mixers, and more.
You know what we are? High class.
Definitely high class, yeah. Make way for the natty.
Okay, maybe medium class.
Central City Liquor is home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the Wooden Nickel program.
Hi, I'm Steve Ollinger, Service Director here at Willis Nissan. On February 12th, the Iowa State Patrol reported over 170 accidents during the snowstorm. This month, February through April 30th, we are offering purchase 3 tires and get the 4th for $1 to keep you safe on the roads. Go to willisnissan.com to schedule your appointment today.
Oops. Let's do this. Snuck up on me there. Welcome back to The Rush on therushladio.com, powered by Willis Automotive. We are worldwide today. I am at my home in Des Moines. Justin is down at Arch Madness in St. Louis. Brought to you, by the way, by Kelly's Little Nipper. I like your shirt there, Justin.
Thank you.
Nippered.
Yeah. Shout out to Kelly's Little Nipper. They've been awesome. I go there every summer. It's part of our golfing tradition now. After we golf and view my family and friends, we hit up the Little Nipper. So they've been great.
Get the hot sausage sandwich?
Yeah, with the banana. It's funny. So I mentioned that once on my show, and now I'll put out a tweet talking like about stats of Arch Madness, blah, blah, blah. And I'll get comments that just say best hot sausage sandwich.
It's worth finding Kelly's Little Nipper just for that sandwich. And Travis is live in Munich. You can see the Wiener Schnitzels behind him in great display.
What is he pulling out?
Oh, look at you. He's even wearing his logo gear.
It was like, hey, you need to bring the Rush shirt, and we're going to take in front of the Duomo, on the Ponte Vecchio, everywhere we go, we're going to like take a picture of me wearing the Rush shirt and say where we're at.
You're just trying to catch up with Mick.
I don't have a flag, but I think a shirt will work, right?
Yeah. Mick's done a great job for us.
Does Mick have the Rush flag, like an actual flag?
Not yet, I don't think.
Okay,
I think he's probably getting one made.
Okay, gotta get one.
Yeah, we were trying to get him something. What did he have with him, Trav? Did he just have a T-shirt or?
He had a long sleeve T-shirt made. It was gray, and he went everywhere when in Nashville. I mean, he was our best promoter. It was great.
Iowa again with a tough loss last night. Iowa women were also in action. Last night was a busy night of basketball with all the Arch Madness stuff, and of course Justin able to break that down for us in that first segment. Talking a little bit more about this Hawkeye men's team, though, Travis. Izzo did come out and try to defend his buddy Fran a little bit. But man, last night even from the sideline, man, it just doesn't seem like he's engaged anymore. We've seen that a lot these last couple of games. Tough, man. Now you got to wrap this thing up on Saturday at Nebraska. That's not going to be an easy game by any stretch. I mean, Fred and his team are still playing for some stuff.
I mean, they're on the bubble, right? I mean, Nebraska's on the bubble, probably on the outside right now because they've tanked as of late. I think they've lost like 5 or 6 in a row. They were on the bubble, but it's one of those things where Nebraska might think it's in, so it's still playing for something. And by the way, is it official? Are they out of the Big Ten tournament officially now?
I believe it's official now because, Travis, if you look at the Big Ten standings, I was just there. Crap, hold on. I wanted to pull up the box score from last night. I think they're on the outside looking in because even if they, maybe not because you've got Minnesota, USC, Rutgers, and Iowa all locked in at about that 6-7 win mark. So I don't know how those tiebreakers would shake out. You've got Nebraska.
So they lost the tiebreaker.
Minnesota.
Lost tiebreaker to Minnesota, lost tiebreaker to USC, won the tiebreaker with Rutgers.
Okay. And we'll know about Nebraska on Saturday.
Yeah.
Why did the Big Ten do this where some teams don't make a conference tournament? I don't like that.
Why not? Sometimes you don't deserve to be in a tournament. Either that or you should do it as Jeff Goodman said, the Fun Belt. If you want to win this thing, you got to win 7 games in 7 days.
Justin, have you seen what the Sun Belt's doing?
No.
They're doing a ladder format. So the top 2 seeds will not play until the semifinal. The bottom teams have to win. If you're the bottom team in the Sun Belt, you're going to have to win 7 games in 7 nights in order to make the NCAA tournament.
See,
Now,
I like that way better than
I do
just
too.
playing.
I think
leaving teams out.
Especially if you're a one big league. Hello.
I look at it this way. Why does the Big Ten want to spend money to fly teams to the tournament and have them in a hotel for 2 days? You know, why do that for 3 teams? You're just spending way too much money. These guys are money hungry, man. They want to keep their money.
And I figured, whenever I have a question in sports, it usually ends up with money being the answer. Yeah. But doesn't mean I have to like it. I don't.
True.
I just Marches. We've had so many great storylines of great runs, and that's why people love the underdogs and this tournament and conference tournaments. You got to give everyone a chance, I think. But
are you going to be feeling like that if Drake gets beat tonight or gets beat tomorrow? Boy, everybody deserves a chance because Drake deserves a chance to be in the NCAA tournament. If it doesn't win, you're going to look at the NCAA tournament and go, they deserve a chance.
It would be one of those where I sit there and I go, that really sucks, but it's part of why we love March. You know, teams have gotten beat in the first round. Iowa State fans, I'm sure they don't like that UAB loss, but also they kind of like the UBC win over Virginia, and you can't have one without the other. So I think it's just part of the beast of March.
All right, so Travis, my buddy Ryan wrote to me, and I've seen this on the chat too. A few people have said Iowa and Nebraska is basically a play-in game. If Iowa wins Saturday at Nebraska, they're in the Big Ten tournament.
A lot on the line. They better play better defense than they did last night.
Tyler doesn't like the ladder bracket. I want to show this one. Tyler says he thinks the ladder bracket is dumb. Make those conferences, the best teams have the best chance to make the dance. But it makes those conferences. That's why I like it, Tyler. That's why I think it is a better format for these one-bid leagues. The last thing that you want as these one-bid leagues is to end up sending one of your bottom feeders. You have to send the best of your best. And the way to do that is to give those best teams the best opportunity to get there. And I'm a big fan of it. I think, first of all, it just looks fun. you when you're talking about having to, you win tonight, you get to play tomorrow. And you win tomorrow, you get to play the next night. I think it's all right. I don't think I would like it for like a Big 10, Big 12, where you've got multiple teams that seem to be fighting and vying for that top slot. I'm okay for that. And especially when you're going to have 5, 6, 7 teams get in the tournament anyway. But for the one-bid leagues, I love it. I think it's super fun. All right, I got a couple of things I want to get to before we let Travis take off. And Travis, you can hang out with us as long as you would like, but I know that you're also on vacation. By the way, how long is your layover here?
We don't leave here till 3:15, and it's almost 2:00.
Okay, so you got another hour yet.
But my wife's right there.
Hi, Aunt Jeanette. Trav, again, a lot of people are saying that they're having a hard time hearing my audio. Is there something I can do with that, or is that?
Are you running the butt today?
Yeah, running the butt.
Huh. Crank it up.
You guys said butt.
Okay. Yeah.
Crank it up.
Running the butt, running the voice meter, running the whole mothership.
Did you talk to Owen at all today?
Yeah, I sent him a text at 5:55.
Okay.
And a picture. Said, "Hey, I'm stuck," and he gave me the right buttons to hit to get unstuck.
Good. He's a good kid.
He's done well for us, man. We talked last week, Trav, about this idea. There was rumors that Hard Knocks was going to hook up with Bill Belichick. Justin, had you heard this? That Hard Knocks was going to they were going to follow Bill Belichick to UNC. And Hard Knocks was going to do their season on the North Carolina football team.
I would be more interested in that. Oh.
I would have been too. I think that would have been really fun. But not going to happen. And Belichick, no surprise. You know why it fell apart? Control issues. Belichick doesn't, he finally decided, I mean, think about it. This is the dude that would film other teams' practices for an advantage. And you were going to let HBO come in here and broadcast this thing and look under the hood. We all should have known that this is how this was going to end when the story came out. Belichick said, "Nah, I don't want to play with you guys. I don't want to give you this access." And so, yeah, we aren't going to get a Hard Knocks with UNC.
And instead, what? It'll be like Jacksonville? Someone we don't care about?
I'm done with Hard Knocks. I haven't watched it for a couple of years. The college thing was interesting to me. I probably would have tuned in a couple of times to check that out. I have zero interest in Hard Knocks anymore. I don't know. Are you, Justin? I think you're probably the one that Hard Knocks is designed for more than me and Travis. Do you watch Hard Knocks still?
No, honestly, I'm not big into it.
Course,
the
man.
one I did enjoy, though, I didn't mind the Giants one where they showed all the like general manager stuff of, after the season ends, the NFL draft, interviewing players during the draft. I did enjoy that, but I didn't get into the Bears. I didn't watch that one. I didn't watch the Jets one a few years ago with Rodgers. It's just, I don't know. It's like the same thing, no matter what team it is. Like there doesn't feel to me there's much difference from season by season. So I kind of got over it.
I'd agree with you. The stories are different, but it's the same emotion. It's the same. I shouldn't say the stories are different. The stories are the same. The characters change. It's a different guy who's about to be cut. It's a different guy who just makes the team. It's a different guy who's going through personal drama and trauma. But it's the same stories. It's the same stories. Who are we going to cut? How do we get the best out of this? Oh, my gosh, are we even going to have a team? There's injuries. Yeah. There's infighting. We can't figure out what to do. And then it all works out in the end. And I loved Hard Knocks those first couple of years. I'm with you, Justin. The Giants stuff, and we'll get to Saquon also. The Giants stuff was fascinating because of that thing with where Saquon, they're trying to figure out who to franchise tag. They finally decide that Daniel Jones is going to be the guy. They feel like they're going to have to overpay for Saquon. They don't think anybody's going to give him the money that he's actually going to get, and especially the Eagles. It couldn't have that drama couldn't have laid out any better last year for Hard Knocks. And then Saquon
and like the phone call with Saquon too.
Incredible.
That scene was incredible. Yeah,
dude, the GM with his kids in the room, and his son
Daniels.
His son is like, "Dad, you're only going to have this job once." What are we doing? The kid is saying, "No, Saquon, generational talent. Come on, man, we got to keep that dude around." Of course, they didn't. He's gone, and now Saquon going to ink a 2-year deal, north or right at $20 million a year. I think, Justin, is what I saw, but I think it's like maybe it's $41 million over the course of 2 years, so just over $20 million a year for Saquon Barkley. And man, what a great move by the Eagles! Go on, win the Super Bowl, and lock this guy up for the next couple of years when he still looks like he'll be a dominant running back. Now, we've all seen this play out. We've all seen what happens with Christian McCaffrey, right? What happens with Ezekiel Elliott? Like over and over and over again, you can take the best running back from 1 year, and that guy can have a big drop off, especially over the course of a 2-year time frame. I still think that the Eagles, very smart here. Obviously, brilliant move to bring him in. Signing him to this extension is a good move also.
And does it give you a higher sense of confidence that Barkley won't have that drop off as extreme as like an Ezekiel Elliott, because he has had his injuries and he's already come back from so many injuries, and he still is one of the top 2 best running backs in the league, top 3. I mean, that gives me a higher sense of confidence. Now, still just because he has the running back, the RB next to his name, that I get a little, like, my gut clenches when you see that 41 million, because you don't see that anymore. You don't see running backs
and
getting
again, Justin, we've all seen
much.
what happens with running backs, man. The tread gets thin quick. So,
and like you feel bad for McCaffrey and stuff.
I mean, feel bad for, again, I
just
think we all just recognize
injuries.
that it's a short frame, man. You're going to have a couple of years, and we've had a couple of really good years out of Saquon Barkley as football fans to enjoy this guy. So, happy we've had that, obviously, but it's going to come to an end. I love Saquon. Seems like an amazing guy. He's an awesome athlete, super fun to watch. I have friends that are big Eagles fans, so I'm happy for them to be able to have this dude. That's one of the contract stories from the NFL yesterday. Saquon getting $20 million a year for the next 2 years. You're a big Seahawks fan, Justin. I want to ask you about Russell Wilson, because the Russell Wilson, I don't even want to call him sweepstakes, but Russell Wilson looking for a new team, right? Raiders are now out. That was one of the places that a lot of people thought Russell Wilson might end up landing.
That's
the
right.
Raiders came out yesterday and said we're out of the Russell Wilson sweepstakes. What are your thoughts?
That one surprises me. I thought Pete Carroll getting that job was like hinting that they were going to go after Russell. And then with Lockett now being released from the Seahawks, I was like, okay, the Raiders are just going to become the Seahawks 2.0 and get Russell and Tyler, who always had a great connection. And yeah, that one really shocked me. And now I'm seeing, I think the Giants and Steelers are the top 2 teams for Russell to be at. I thought he was good with the Steelers. I think he fits what Tomlin does there well. He's getting, I think we're seeing the end of his career.
No
at
doubt
this
about
point.
it. Have we seen the end?
No, because there's still
you think he's back with the Steelers?
Man, no. That's such a tough question, because
Justin, neither one of those teams are
all of that one.
Neither one of those teams mean that. All right, I'm gonna amend what I was about to say. What I was going to say was neither one of those teams mean Russell Wilson is going to be a winner. I don't think there's a team in the NFL that Russell Wilson could go behind center and lead to a Super Bowl. I'm not sure I don't think he's got that left in him, Justin. I think I lost Justin. I think I've lost everybody.
The better part, I mean, the Steelers were dominating. You lost me? Oh, I was going to say.
You're there. I got you.
But you look back at the start of the season last year with the Steelers, he was playing fairly good. I mean, he had a couple of 400-plus yard performances. So I don't think he's completely out of it. He doesn't have the scramble ability. One of the bigger things that made him so unique and so great in the NFL was his ability to escape the pocket. He doesn't do that as effectively and efficiently as he did 3 seasons ago. But man, there's just something. I think the Steelers still is his best fit, because that style of play works for him, where you have a strong running back in Harris. He just needs some good receivers. The Steelers have not had a talented group of receivers since Antonio Brown, or anything since the Big Ben era. I mean, even in Big Ben's final year, he had no one to throw to. And the Steelers team still won 10 games. So I don't know. I know Justin Fields could still be a really good potential. Young,
I like him. Yeah,
I do too.
I was a fan of him coming out of Ohio State. I thought he was going to be a big hit with the Bears. That didn't work out. He got traded. I thought this is going to be the fit. I don't know. I'm probably fallen, Justin, for the talking points on Russell Wilson more than I should, rather than actually about. You're right, man. We talked about this last year during the season that he was not as bad as the conversation around him was saying. He wasn't having as bad of a year.
His final year with the Denver Broncos, where everyone was like, "Oh, he's washed." He had the same stats, maybe a few 100-yard differences they did the year the Seahawks won the Super Bowl in 2013. He's still the same quarterback. It's just he doesn't run around nearly as much. And he had one really bad year with the Broncos. And after that, people have just looked at him completely different. And I know Ryan's calling me a homer, and maybe there is a little bit of that still leaking through, because I still wear my Seahawks Russell Wilson jersey every Sunday.
That's why I wanted to bring it up, Justin, because I saw this yesterday and I was like, I got to ask Justin about this because I know my opinion on him is a little bit different than yours. And I do think Ryan's right. You being a Seahawk fan, you've got that love for Russell Wilson that a lot of us don't have. And I do think that I'm probably falling for that conversation that's been around him, which is that he's washed up, that he's, his best years are definitely behind him. Father Time's undefeated, and all those cliches are true. Does he still have enough to help an NFL team be competitive? And that answer is yes. As much as I would want to say they got to move on and go to Justin Fields, the answer to that's yes.
It's yes, but it's not as like he can just do it by himself. Like you can drop him anywhere and they become a contender, like people thought when he first went to Denver, of how everyone after he left Seattle was thinking the Broncos were Super Bowl contenders and one of the toughest divisions. Now you do have to kind of put some pieces around him. That's why I thought the Raiders was going to be a perfect fit. He knows Pete Carroll and then Tyler Lockett coming out of Seattle too. You get some veteranship on that wide receiver core for the Raiders. I'm shocked they aren't going for Russell.
All right, when we get back here to start the 7 o'clock hour, we're going to change gears a little bit here. The payoff of the longest tease in radio history. When we started the program back in January, Travis made a trip down to Los Alamos, and he was blown away when he got down there and found out that Ames, Iowa was a big part of the Manhattan Project, and called me. We both kind of had this conversation. Like, man, it rings some vague bells with me, but I don't know the details of it. So we kind of talked about it on the air, and one of our listeners, Allison, wrote in and said, you guys need to check out this documentary about the uranium stuff that happened up in Ames. It's called Uranium Derby. So I did some searching. I was able to not only find the documentary, but I found the lady that put the documentary together, the producer of it. Her name is Brittany Prater. She is going to join us here in the 7 o'clock hour. And again, kind of a change from what we've been talking about, but for a lot of you folks that are Iowa State students, trust me, I didn't go to Iowa State. I've never lived in Ames. I was fascinated by this documentary. I found it really, really entertaining. Very educational. Some of you folks will know some of the stuff we're going to talk about, but we're going to talk with a local lady. She's from Ames. She's now working on her second documentary. And when we get back here in the 7 o'clock hour, we'll be joined. Justin, you're going to stick around with me, right? Oh, see, I've lost him again. Look at this. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right, when I get back, Brittany Prater will join me here for Uranium Derby on The Rush, therushradio.com, powered by Willis Automotive.
Spring is coming up, and it's a time for cleaning and renewal. Get your spring cleaning started early with a fuel induction service from Willis Volvo Cars. This service cleans out carbon buildup and other deposits from the fuel injectors, intake valves, and combustion chambers. This service can provide fuel efficiency, performance, and power to make sure your Volvo is ready for spring and summer travel. Right now, we are offering 10% off a fuel induction service, so give us a call or head online to willisvolvocars.com.
Is something in your attic keeping you up at night? Don't let unwanted guests take over your home. With over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's trusted expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly wildlife solutions at a fair price. We safely remove bats, squirrels, raccoons, birds, and more so you can sleep soundly again. For a free estimate, call Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions today at 515 218-3400.
You've dreamed about an absolutely organized garage or closet? See it for yourself at Absolute Garage and Closet's beautiful showroom in Urbandale. See the latest in garage storage, custom closet systems, and epoxy flooring applications up close, and imagine how good it will feel to have your garage, closets, or other spaces absolutely organized. Free consultations, friendly service, and quick project turnarounds, Absolute Garage and Closets is ready to bring peace of mind into your home. Visit Absolute Garage and Closets at 3169 99th Street in Urbandale or at absolutegarage.net.
When it comes to mortgages, no one is more trusted than Gary Presnall at Northwest Bank in Des Moines. With more than 25 years of experience, Gary has been Iowa's top mortgage banker for the past 5 years. With creativity and professionalism, Gary is dedicated to finding unique programs to help you afford the home you deserve. Call Gary at 515-975-6767 or find his profile at nw.bank/Gary Presnall. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
There's a new spin on casual dining near Drake University. Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers. Craveable faves, flatbreads, delicious burgers, frozen cocktails, and a crazy cool vibe. Get to Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers today.
Missing a quality home-cooked meal? You know, the kind Mom used to make? Lucky for you, we found her recipe book. Welcome to the High Life. Welcome to the Champagne of Bars.
I'm loving these wooden nickels, Brian.
Yeah, I suppose everyone is catching on.
Just spend $20 to get a wooden nickel.
It's 25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings on your next purchase.
Some of these are worth $5. That could be huge.
I know, right? That's why you have to spend $20.
It's 25.
Collect 10. It's like money back to you.
Spend 20, you get another wooden nickel.
It's 25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings. It's huge.
Central City Liquors, home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the wooden nickel program.
It's huge.
Well, maybe we'll take Justin back out of there. And we'll bring in Brittany Prater. Brittany,
Hi.
how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much for giving me some time this morning. Again, you're listening to The Rush on therushladio.com, powered by Willis Automotive. Justin Miller is live down. Well, he's not live right now. Justin is in St. Louis, and hopefully will be joining us before the program ends again. I took some advice from our comment section and had Justin reach out to the hotel about an upgraded Wi-Fi. So we'll see if we can get in there. If not, no big deal. Brittany, thank you so much. First of all, for giving me time this morning. Second of all, just for your work on this uranium derby project. I'm a documentary fiend. It's like the only thing that I watch are documentaries. And I really did enjoy this, not only because of the local angle of it. When I found out this was your very first production, you did an excellent job with this. You should be very, very proud of this.
Oh, thank you. Thanks so much for having me on the show.
Yeah, let's start from the very beginning. So you grew up in Ames?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
Went to Ames High, graduated, and then I went off to college elsewhere. But Ames is my hometown, and
So you didn't go to Iowa State?
I did not. No,
Okay.
I went to the Kansas City Art Institute, went to grad school in Philly. I was actually living in New York while we were making this film. I lived in New York for 13 years. Anyway, so
Wow.
yeah, but my friend's father was an environmental regulator for the federal government in the early 90s. And I came home one year and I'd been working on some art videos. And he was like, oh, you should really make a video about this. There's this field south of town that's contaminated with waste. And I was like, well, that seems really odd because I don't know, I just think Ames is such a nice town. And I anyway started looking into it, and the story kind of got bigger and bigger in the first week of interviews. I was like, oh wait, there's like the Manhattan Project happened here. Okay. Like I thought it was significant that I'd grown up in Ames and never known that it was involved.
Yeah.
In the Manhattan Project. And so
and Brittany, are you finding that like a lot of people this is news to a lot of people? I'm a history buff and I've lived my whole life here in Polk County. So when I heard this, it kind of rang a bell. It did one of those things where it kind of pulled on that memory file a little bit, but I couldn't pinpoint it. I'm like, yeah, I kind of hear this. I reached out to a lot of my friends. When I was watching the documentary, I had like a text thread going with my buddies going, holy cow, did you know this? Did you know this? Some of them claimed that when you are a freshman at Iowa State, like part of your orientation, they tell you about this. Here's what I've learned though, Brittany. That's not every orientation. because most of my friends said I had no idea about this. Now, you obviously don't absorb everything that you're told in that first week on campus, but during your documentary, you show there's still a rock there on the campus at Iowa State that signifies the place where 2 million pounds of uranium. Am I using right? If I say enriched, that's not necessarily the right way to put it, right? The uranium was
processed.
Yeah.
Processed. Yeah. It's the first, they invented really the first method of purification of uranium. So like when uranium is mined, the ore itself, it attaches to other elements in nature. Like if you think of it as a rock, right? As a very heavy rock, because uranium is the heaviest element, like natural element on the periodic table. There's heavier ones that humans have made, but anyway. So it's attached to other elements. And before that time in Ames, you could really get uranium in the size of little pellets, like your thumb kind of size, but they made it so you could get it in the size of a birthday cake. And they actually, where the film's name comes from is Uranium Derby. So what they were casting looked like Derby hat. So you'd heat this stuff up. They got these huge coffee grinders and would grind this stuff up into a powder. And then, at least this is my understanding, they would add it. I think they added calcium carbonate and some other things. I'm not a scientist, but
Brittany, I would tell people you do a really wonderful job in the documentary. Like I now I understand more about gamma radiation than I did before. You do a really wonderful job of kind of walking people through this process in kind of elementary steps. I love it when you're talking. Is it your dad that you're talking to that he basically says, you don't have the understanding?
Oh, my grandpa.
That's your grandpa.
My grandpa.
You're not smart enough to understand all this stuff anyway. I felt that. When he said that, I was like, me neither, Grandpa.
I mean, I was not a great chemistry student in high school. I think I had to drop chemistry because I hadn't taken physics. And so I had to do survey of chemistry. And anyway, I had to look all this stuff up from scratch, and I had to quadruple check it before we made animations because I was like, well, is this really right? So yeah,
you did a great job of explaining that and kind of how, what uranium is, what happens to it, the half-life of it, how it decays, and that kind of leads into. So, again, I went into this documentary thinking I was going to watch a historical recount of the Manhattan Project. Now, that's a big part of the documentary. Is you talk about Ames's role in that, the tiny building that they did all of this uranium processing in that they called Little Ankeny. They even had some explosions inside of this building that like rocked the foundation of the building. It a couple of times lifted the roof off the building, and the scientists would have to come back and reset the roof and the walls. I mean, this was very dangerous what these guys were going through. And again, I went into this thinking, well, I'm going to watch a documentary about how it affected these people's lives. I didn't know I was going to watch a documentary about how it's still impacting the community of Ames.
Yeah. The film is really, it really gets into weapons manufacturing a little bit and sort of the public health consequences of that. Yeah.
You have one of the ladies that you interview in the documentary, her husband passed away. He had cancer, and quite frankly, a lot of these scientists ended up developing some form of cancer.
Yeah, most of them. Yeah. The one exception being Harley Wilhelm for some reason, but yeah, most of them did. Most of them died of various cancers, and there are really, really interesting interviews that Parks Library has, audio interviews with a lot of these guys that are fascinating to listen to. I mean, there's so many different quotes and anecdotes that are interesting, but I
found it interesting, Brittany, how most of them, most of these adults now had the attitude of like, now we knew what we signed up for.
Yeah,
there wasn't this attitude of like, oh, my husband died and now I need to sue somebody. I need to get compensated for this. It really did seem like the folks that you talked to were resigned to the fact that this was an inevitable part of that job.
Yeah, well, I think that the people who were really in charge of the project had a better understanding of that than some of the people who were kind of working kind of down, further down on the chain. Some of the people doing the actual labor. I actually had a woman come to a screening in I'm blanking on the name of the city in Iowa right now, but there was a woman who came who said, oh, my father worked on this project and he developed these crazy boils and he was let go and he died. And what she was describing, she said, oh, it's not related, but really she was like talking about this nausea that never went away, all these boils on his skin, all this stuff. And like, so I think there are different kinds of stories that don't show up in my film about, you know, people who didn't know what they were working on and then got sick and died. But also, yes, there was this kind of idea of sort of like needing to do this for the country. I think at the time that was sort of, I think the mentality around but they were, a lot of them were in their 20s, you know, a lot of these guys were really young. I think the man leading the project was maybe early 30s. So yeah, it's kind of wild.
Insanely smart men.
Yeah.
We're chatting with Brittany Prater. Am I saying that right? Is it Prater or Prater?
Prater, yeah.
Okay, Brittany Prater. Her documentary is Uranium Derby. Fantastic look into the history of Ames and their involvement with the Manhattan Project. So, Brittany, we've talked about kind of the first half of this documentary. It really is about Ames' role in this uranium processing. The impact that it kind of evolves into the impact that it has had on that community. I was fascinated to learn there's more than a dozen toxic waste sites in Ames. 15, I think you said.
Oh, I thought it was maybe 10, but
okay.
There
10 is a lot.
It is a lot.
More than one.
There were a lot. Yeah, and I think it's kind of one of those things where the film has a lot to do with how waste is spread, kind of sometimes because people even don't know where it is or whatever. But I think some of those things came from the waste that was worked on at the time, and a lot of that was in the YMCA woods. There was a huge project to kind of clean up some of that stuff in the early 90s. But meanwhile, people are walking through that woods, hanging out, and I think that's where a lot of the waste went from the Manhattan Project. My understanding. And then, but also then after the war, then the laboratory was working with trying to get energy out of thorium, and then a lot of thorium was being flushed down the drains. It's possible that uranium was also being flushed down the drains at the time. I don't know. But before OSHA, it was like, well, you got something to get rid of. Oh, flush it down the drain, it'll go away, But where it goes is the sewage treatment plant. So a lot of this waste went to the old sewage treatment plant in Ames, which was south of town.
Leads us into that third part. And ironically, the thing that led you into doing this project, right? You said initially it was just about this toxic waste site on the south side of town, and you were kind of trying to find out about that. That led you back to the uranium processing part of it. So now let's jump to that last part, which really does become the crux of the film. When the Hunziker Sports Complex on the south, every one of us knows exactly where that is. You get off on the interstate, you're headed into Ames on Highway 30, and on the south side of Highway 30, you see this giant sports complex, bunch of soccer fields. I do not remember being probably teenager at that time in central Iowa. I don't remember this fight happening over the Hunziker Sports Complex. That was the site of one of the largest toxic waste facilities or dumps, right?
Well, it was the sewage treatment plant was there. And so the stuff that was being flushed down the drain ended up there. And the thing is that like thorium and uranium, they're heavy metals. They kind of settle into the sludge. And then the sludge gets spread, on a field nearby or something, or given away. And anyway, so yeah, and this sewage treatment plant, there's a new one in Ames now. It's not
They decided this was not a good spot for it.
Well, yeah, I think they probably wanted a new one to clean it up. I don't know the story behind that, but this was at the top of the hill. And it's now a dog park. And then at the bottom of the hill is where I think a lot of the sludge was spread out. And then also even it's a floodplain. So you've got water moving the soil down. Anyway, and that's where the sports field is. And they play the Iowa games there. And I mean, the concern really is that the site's never really, I mean, it's been tested, but it's never been properly tested.
Yeah.
And so, you can go someplace. One of the things I learned making the film is like, like a Geiger counter. Someone said, well, it's like using a thermometer when what you need is an MRI.
You need a CT scan. You're using a thermometer. And I was just, Brittany, I'm just like you. Again, you do such a good job of like talking to idiots like me. I was the same way. I thought a Geiger counter was that was like the be all end all of radiation reading. And it turns out that, he says that's a thermometer and you've got to be able to get deep and really see into the ground. And they've never, allegedly, never done that.
Well, they took some soil samples there, but they kind of took them in various. I don't know. The geologist who looked at the report was like, "Well, this is. It looks kind of like they're. I don't know. It looks kind of like they're trying not to find anything. I don't know. I'm more like you. I'm not a scientist, so everything is kind of like put together from the people that I talk to who are much, much smarter than me. But yeah, it's. I think it's particularly of concern because. If you're just walking across, it's probably not that big of a deal. You've got, maybe gamma radiation, but like if you're playing in the soil and like you've got kids who are particularly like, particularly vulnerable to cancers because their cells replicate so quickly. And like, anyway, so they're playing there and they might bring soil home with them. They might, get a cut or a scrape. They might be playing in the dirt. It's not ideal. Yeah, no, I think it's not ideal.
All right. I've got some people asking, Britt, how can they watch this documentary? I found it on Vimeo. Is that the place to watch it?
Oh, no. I just sent you a password protected link.
Okay. Never mind.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
No. So it has distribution through Bullfrog Film. So if you're an Iowa State student or connected with a university, you can watch it on DocuSeek, which is a streaming service that universities have. Then the best thing would be if you want to ask your local library to get it. That's the ideal for me. Okay. I'm also happy to arrange screenings in Iowa. We've done that. Right now it's educational distribution, so it's mostly just libraries and schools right now. But yeah, the DocuSeek is the streaming service that a lot of universities have, and so that's how.
Okay. I gotta ask about DocuSeek.
DocuSeek, yeah, it's kind of like, I don't know if you've heard of Canopy, but a lot of libraries have Canopy. My distributor didn't go with Canopy; they went with DocuSeek. So anyway, but yeah, it's sort of that's how you can watch it. Or contact me and I'll arrange a screening.
That'd be great. Right, I love this idea. Go to your local library, tell them about Uranium Derby. If people do want to reach out to you, Britt, how do they do that?
There's a website, uraniumderby.com, and there's contact info there. I believe there should be.
There is. That's how I found you, actually, was through the Bullfrog Films link at the bottom of that page.
Oh, okay.
So that was how I found your email address. So if people are willing to do that, that's a good way to do it.
Now,
how long ago did you make this? You said you were living in New York when you did it. Was this 5-6 years ago?
Well, actually, it was longer ago. I look quite a bit younger in the film. I was 27, I think. I was like 2000, and we started shooting in 2012, I think, and 2013. I got a Humanities Iowa grant in 2013, and then hired an editor. And I kind of learned how to make video through this. Hired an editor, learned from her, ran out of money, edited it myself. And then actually kind of finished most of the film in 2018. But then, I don't know, I just kind of sat on it for a while because I was like, I don't know what to do with this. And then the pandemic hit, and I was working in reality TV as a video editor, and I got busy, and I don't know. And then I was back in Ames a couple of years ago, and someone reached out about a screening, and we screened it, and I thought, this is actually, it's a pretty good film. I should do something with this.
I think you did a great job with it.
Anyway.
I mean, knowing that it was your first production that you did, I think you did fantastic.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks.
So, but you did tell me also that you're working on another one?
Yes, a new film. Yeah, about the Caucasus, though. Very different topic. And that one was also supposed to be a short film originally, and is now, 5 years later, it's almost done. Hopefully, But yeah, it's a film about we filmed the 2020 Iowa Democratic caucuses. We followed a couple people through that process. And so the film is really about how there's history sections in there too. We got an interview with the inventor of that system in DC, the Iowa Democratic Caucus system. And it's also kind of, it's a story. It's kind of a sad story about the end of the first in the nation status for the Democrats. Yeah. Anyway, so
most people, I was 2020 was one of the years, Brittany, where I was kind of fading out of politics. I used to be very, very involved. In fact, the radio show I produced for about a decade was one of the premier political talk shows in Iowa.
Oh, wow.
So I loved doing the political thing. About 2016 was when I got burnt out and decided I was done and people were taking it way too serious. And so I started to fade out. But I definitely remember that night in 2020 when the caucus fiasco happened and we were having such a hard time getting results back. I'm really interested to see, because I had some friends that were affected by that in some pretty bad ways, and that sucked to watch my friends go through that.
Yeah.
So I'm really interested to see this next piece that you're putting together. So keep it up, man. I'm very impressed. I love it. So people should go to their local library, tell them about Uranium Derby.
I'd love that. Yeah.
Okay.
And reach out to me, you know, if someone really wants there to be a screening in their area and has an idea of a venue where we could do it, I can set that up. Anyway, yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Listen, when you get done with the caucus piece, I want you to come back on with us. Is that okay?
Amazing. Yeah, I'd love that.
I'm going to try to bring Justin back in here. He's still not there. I thought I had him for a second. I wanted him because Justin obviously hasn't seen the movie. So I was kind of interested in Justin being, kind of my, he says he's there. There he is. I was kind of interested in Justin being my guinea pig on this. Okay. He was going to listen to it and then ask any questions that he might have had. I know he got to listen to some of it. Justin did. I know this is interesting to you because you and I are the same person.
Yeah, very much so, the same person. But my biggest question is, because again, I'm sorry about my internet issues here in St. Louis, so I was kind of cutting in and out. So maybe you answered this before, but how the hell did you even stumble across this? How did this become your kind of project?
Yeah,
because I'd never heard of it and lived in Iowa my whole life.
Right, like most people.
Yeah, it was really, it started out with my friend's dad, who was kind of the environmental regulator, and he knew a lot of people, and he kind of introduced me to some people. And then I started just, one person in an interview mentioned someone else, and you just kind of, and then there was the Ames Historical Society had some information, and anyway, just kind of, one person leads you to another. It's really kind of it was really when I started to learn about oral histories and sort of like, oh yeah, there's these different ways that histories are recorded. And one way is just through human memory. And, and the Historical Society sent me to this 95-year-old woman, Elizabeth Smith, who is how, I guess it was her granddaughter who reached out to you. Yeah. But she was really lovely. Her husband had worked on the project and she was, anyway, yeah, you just, I don't know, you just kind of find something interesting enough and you just keep looking and then things just kind of unfold. Reality is so complex and weird and interesting. I don't know. That's why I love documentaries.
I've had a lot of people commenting in my comment section because, a couple years ago, Ames went out of their way to brag about their water.
Yeah.
So a lot of people finding the irony in Ames having a PSA about how wonderful their water is. And we all know that Hunziker Sports Complex is like next to a river.
Well, and now the city's been digging up a pool at an old coal tar site that really shouldn't be happening. It's not yeah. I don't know that they've learned from their mistakes. That's a whole nother story that, anyway, coal tar is different than nuclear waste. But
have you had any sort of blowback from, I know when you were producing it, you had some people within the city that were a little bit reluctant to chat with you. Have you had anybody that has been like, hey, because I don't think you make the city look bad in any way. It's not. This is not a bad reflection of Ames or the people in Ames. You don't make the claim that Ames is an unhealthy city or that kids are getting sick or anything like that. You're just trying to point out hey, this is an interesting history of our town. Have you had any people in the community that were? Have you had any negative blowback?
Not really. I think initially at the library screening, there was a wife of one of the guys who had passed away, who was pregnant. And I mean, I don't think that there were some, people at the laboratory who were not happy about it. But, I mean, I think I did I tried very hard in the film, which is why actually talking out loud always makes me a little more nervous, because I'm like, in the film, you can kind of control and be like, okay, you double check, triple check all the information. And I went through a whole legal process last year before the film was, actually released. So it was very expensive, but interesting too. Anyway, there hasn't been a lot. I think it's also a lot of it is stuff that happened a long time ago, but it is still around, and it is something that we should talk about. And I do think that, we still might try to think, when you want to put a site somewhere, like, should I really put it there? And I think sometimes you get, the city gets excited and wants to just go ahead with something, but it's like, oh, wait a minute. And unfortunately, with this swimming pool now, it's like, well, I don't know. Anyway, we want a pool, yes, but do we want it, do we want it in a place that will contaminate our water? Maybe not.
Well, Brittany, I can't thank you enough for putting the documentary together, for giving us some time. Again, I'm getting some comments. It's a wide array. There's the whole spectrum. We have people that grew up in Ames and they've known this story. They're excited to watch your documentary still. Nice. I would say the majority of people that have reached out to me have said, I didn't know about this. If I was taught about Ames's role in the Manhattan Project, I forgot about it. And this is a really, really in-depth look into how it got there, why Ames was chosen, how they got the uranium back out of Ames, and the reaction when those bombs went off. And those guys felt like they had saved thousands of lives. And were a major part of this. And that was a big accomplishment and a very cool part of Ames history. The backside of it is just the consequence of progress.
It's complicated.
You did a great job with it. Be very proud of it, and we'll encourage people to go track it down.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
You bet. Brittany Prater, not the last time we'll chat with you. When you get done with that caucus thing, I'll be interested in that as well, okay?
Yeah. Iowa's perspective coming through on the caucus thing. It hasn't.
Oh, no, I hit. Oh, hold on. You're there.
Oh,
Sorry.
that's fine. No, I'll see you.
I hit the wrong button.
Oh, you're fine. Well, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Brittany. We'll chat with you soon, okay?
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, now we'll really get rid of her. I didn't mean to do that. That's why you don't let me run the ship, man. Run into the rocks.
You got me with internet issues, freezing up. Oh,
I thought that was really cool. Thank you all for indulging me for the last half hour and letting me on a Friday not talk sports for a little while, because I did. I really thought that was fascinating. Had no idea. I kind of knew about the Manhattan Project in Ames, had no idea that there were still toxic waste sites up there, and I'm getting a lot of information. People know their stuff, man. We've got a really smart listener base. One of my buddies even said, our office, like Ankeny has some of these. Ankeny has some nuclear waste sites. Had no idea.
Me either. I was wondering, so do you think that's the whole backlash, or maybe not backlash is a good word, but the effects of like what happened of, people getting cancer? Is there a side of like guilt, or maybe they kind of just want to put that aside and that's why people like me haven't heard about this being a thing in Ames? Or am I just looking into it too deeply?
Boy, that's a good question, Justin. Why wouldn't this be?
Because we know the first computer was there. That's like
right. That
prompted up.
And that's funny. When I first sent a message to some group of guys that said, hey, did you guys know about Ames' role in the Manhattan Project? One of my friends fired right back and said, do you mean the computer? That they invented the computer in Ames and that was somehow part of it? No, this is a whole different deal. Whole different group of scientists. entirely different project. This was obviously way under wraps. One of the things I should have talked to Brittany about that's in the documentary that's so fascinating, Justin, for a while, and I don't know how long, maybe she would have known, there was a box that sat at the Ames post office, and it was like a novelty because it wasn't a very large box, but nobody could pick it up. It was so heavy that nobody could pick it up, and it kind of became like a thing in the community. They were like, "Hey, you should go check out this box at the post office. It's not very big, but it's so heavy nobody can pick it up because it was full of produced uranium." Yeah. Yes. There's so much in this documentary that you just like, wow. I bet I sent 15 text messages to groups of guys saying, "Did you know this? Did you know this?" And then, yeah, my friends that have been on Iowa State's campus that went to school there for 4 or 5 years all walked past this rock with a plaque on it, nondescript. You would walk past it and never think of it. But if you took the time to read the plaque, you'd see that that is the site where 2 million pounds of uranium were produced.
Wild. And to watch, it's QSeek, we can find it. Just at the library.
Yeah. So what she said was go to your local library, ask your local library if they could bring it in for you, and it's Uranium Derby is the name of it. But if you're interested, again, I found it by just going to uraniumderby.com. At the bottom of that page, there is a link for Bullfrog Films. That's who helped Brittany produce it. And that was how I ended up getting a hold of Brittany. Now, if we wanted to do an actual screening of it, that might be fun to set up with one of our theater friends here in town. But I do think that everybody, if you can watch this on your own accord. I think we did a pretty good job there of explaining. It does not start out as the documentary that you end up watching. It really tells you a couple of different stories. It starts off with, man, this is really cool that Ames was a part of this Manhattan Project, but it ends with what is still happening in the ground up in Ames. And it's not a knock on the city. There's at no point are you like, oh my gosh, Ames is unhealthy. But there's a moment you're like, damn, didn't know this stuff. Fascinating. So anyway, we'll get Brittany back on when she gets done with her caucus one because I'm a documentary nerd, so love it. When we get back, Justin and I will wrap up a fun Friday. We'll talk about, so we've been working on some sort of penalty box type of end of the week here, right? Something that we can do to give away for you listeners. We haven't quite buttoned that down yet, but we can talk about that, take some ideas from you as we roll along with The Rush on therushladio.com, powered by Willis Automotive.
Is something in your attic keeping you up at night? Don't let unwanted guests take over your home. With over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's trusted expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly wildlife solutions at a fair price. We safely remove bats, squirrels, raccoons, birds, and more so you can sleep soundly again. For a free estimate, call Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions today at 515-218-3400.
You've dreamed about an absolutely organized garage or closet? See it for yourself at Absolute Garage & Closet's beautiful showroom in Urbandale. See the latest in garage storage, custom closet systems, and epoxy flooring applications up close, and imagine how good it will feel to have your garage, closets, or other spaces absolutely organized. Free consultations, friendly service, and quick project turnarounds, Absolute Garage & Closets is ready to bring peace of mind into your home. Visit Absolute Garage & Closets at 3169 99th Street in Urbandale or at absolutegarage.net.
Largest selection of German beer in the world? You'll find it at the Hessen House. From Doppelbocks to Oktoberfest to Hefeweizens and Dunkels, there's no passport needed for the deliciously different beer and food at the Hessen House. So grab your friends and make it a fun night out. The Hessen House, 4th and Court, Des Moines.
When it comes to mortgages, no one is more trusted than Gary Presnall at Northwest Bank in Des Moines, Iowa's top mortgage banker for the past 5 years. Call Gary at 515-975-6767 or find his profile at nw.bank.
You know, Brian, at Central City, we really do have the best selection around.
I know, high quality stuff you can't find anywhere else.
Whistle Pig, plantation rum.
Yeah, and over 150 of the best scotches on earth.
And a ton of bitters, mixers, and more.
You know what we are? High class.
Definitely high class, yeah. Make way for the natty.
Okay, maybe medium class.
Central City Liquors, home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the wooden nickel program.
My name is Corey Allen, and I'm a recon tech at Willis Automotive. Worked here for about a year and 3 months. Was an express tech before this. I was in the automotive field before I came here. Needed a different change of pace from, the management and everything, and someone who already works here, who liked how everything was ran, told me about it, told me that there was a spot open, and told me to give it a shot, and I've liked it ever since. A lot of good people that work here. Everyone's willing to share their knowledge. Yeah, I would say that's about it.
If you have a pest problem with over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's local expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly pest solutions at a fair price for your home or business. Call us today at 515-218-3400.
Apologize to all of you out there that are having a hard time hearing me today. I wish we could figure this out. I even had somebody say, man, it's been like this since the very first show. Can't hear Ross. I am pumping up here, guys, I promise. And then a lot of people are like, I hear you fine. We are sending out on a lot of different streams here. So apologize for you folks that have had a hard time hearing me today. But hey, we're trying. We're really trying. We got on the air today. That's the good thing. We got Justin live from St. Louis. We had a whole interview. Yeah, we had Justin live at times.
Glitching out. We just got to figure out this, though, Ross, because it's just too good.
It's too good. We got to figure out how to make money on this thing.
It's just too good.
Justin and I are both obsessed with I Think You Should Leave.
I don't think we can go a day without mentioning it to each other.
Anytime I get a meme, anytime I get any sort of I Think You Should Leave reference, it makes my day. It makes me smile. I'm like, yeah, funny stuff. Then I'll like be in meetings with at the office, and somebody will bring it up. Like all of a sudden a guy will look at you and he'll go, "Triplets is best." Like, yeah. Just made me smile. Like, what the hell does that mean? Nothing. Stupid stuff is what it means. I do want to give a shout out to our buddy Marty at Absolute Garage and Closets. I went over there yesterday for a moment to chat with him. I'm trying to tell people, man, this is the place. If you are not going to move from your house, you're one of these people locked in at 2.5% interest rate. You ain't going to be moving for a long time. Absolute Garage and Closets is the place for you to go to not only make your home more enjoyable, you're going to increase the value of your home. Your resellability is going to go up because you're going to have all of this incredible stuff. For less than $1,500, you can get 2 4x8 racks in your garage that raise up to the ceiling. So imagine right now having 2 4-foot by 8-foot sheets of plywood. You can stack all the junk that you don't want on your floor anymore and raise it up to your roof. Now you can park a car in there, you can make your life easier, and you can get it done very quickly. So call Marty and his team over at Absolute Garage and Closets. Don't wait. Things aren't getting cheaper. What are you doing? About to get whacked in the head with a wooden bat. What's that one? Let me see that. It's the black one, she said.
Oh, okay.
Drug-free America, the right choice. The FBI says don't strike out.
She had good form. She's getting ready for spring training.
Tell them about what? Oh, yeah. So she was with me at Absolute. She's selling right now. That's what she's doing. My little biscuit. I love you so much. So when we were at Absolute Garage and Closets, one of the things they have in their showroom are these like collapsible tables that and they're designed to be in your garage. So you can have a workbench that basically sets up and then it can fold back down against the wall. That was super cool. And those were cheap too. For like under $300, I think you could get those installed.
And we were thinking of putting our customers by our table, so then we could get rid of the table we have now, then get stools and chairs and make that a homework space. And
if you can't tell, guys, she likes to talk. Don't know where she gets it from. Have no idea. If I could just get her out of her shell a little bit, if I could just, get her to open up a little.
I think you guys should just have her do your live reads every time. Like, take her to different places.
She goes to see houses with me, and like occasionally she's selling the house. She's like, "Oh yeah, if I were here, I'd be doing this, I'd be doing that." I'm like, I have to give her commissions.
I love it.
Let's see. Jay Munn said he is waiting to hear about our employee. Well, listen, we kind of mentioned this on Monday. We had a big win last week here for the Rush and the Rush Radio, and quite frankly, our friends over at Choice Creative. Ken Payne is his name. Now, a lot of you might not know that name. If you listened to the radio station for a long time, we would talk about Ken. We love Ken. Loved him so much that we went and fought to try to get him into this opportunity. So we are super excited about having Ken Payne join the Choice Creative team. He won't just be doing the Rush stuff. This opens him up to a whole bevy of opportunities. So super excited about that news. Justin, let's talk a little bit about what your day is going to be like. I wrote down one note that I do want to talk to you about before we get into basketball again, okay?
Okay, I'll try to answer it before my internet cuts out.
Gladiator 2?
You want me to break down Gladiator 2?
So I've never seen Gladiator. I've never seen the entire movie. I've seen parts of it.
Is it one of those where you might have seen the entire movie, but just not in one sitting because it's always on like AMC?
Well, no, I actually went out of my way to try to watch it a couple weeks ago.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Like found it on like Netflix or Amazon or whatever. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this. JT, I'm sorry. I know this is one of those things you're like, hand over your man card or things like that. Gladiator is one of those movies you're absolutely supposed to have seen, loved, know every part of. And I did. I loved the part I saw of it. I saw probably about the first hour of it. Loved it. Like, this is a really fun movie. I've seen the whole thing.
Just didn't finish it?
Okay. Yeah, just didn't finish it. This is going to turn into the Audrey show if I don't put a stop to this.
I love it. The first one I like. It's not like one of my top 10 favorite movies of all time. It's really good, and I like Russell Crowe a lot in the movie. But yeah, Megan and I, we watched the first one like last month or whatever, and we've been waiting to go see
And did you do that knowing that Gladiator 2 was coming out?
Yeah, we were like, let's rewatch the first one and the second one, and we just forgot to it. And then it was like $4 or whatever on Amazon, and she had a snow day on Wednesday. So we're like, yeah, let's watch it. And it was fine. It just, I don't know. It was just like, it was, what else are you going to do with the Gladiator story? Like, the first one kind of told the story. Your wife dies, you get brought in, now you have to fight for your freedom in the Colosseum. There's not much else you can do. And now there's like sharks in it, which never happened. Like they never had
flood
sharks.
The Colosseum and they have sharks in the Colosseum?
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out.
So, okay, but apparently, I don't know if they flooded the Colosseum in real life. I don't think they did. But they used to reenact naval battles. So that was true. But I don't think they ever were like, hey, let's go grab a handful of sharks for tonight's game.
All right, I'm kind of stupid here, so I'm doing some looking anyway. Okay. I got to look at something here before I speak to. Oh, I guess. All right. My first thought was like, how far inland is Rome? They got sharks. But yeah, it turns out it's like right there on the right on the coast there.
Yeah.
Chris Flagg thinks you're more entertaining than me, by the way. So he wants you to stay on the show. Yeah. No, that's not happening. You're gonna have to.
She doesn't seem excited about it.
Okay, go get Bubby ready because we got to leave in like 10 minutes.
But yeah, it was fine. Like, again, if you're looking for just an action movie to pass some time, yeah, it's a good action flick. I'm glad that's what stuck around.
Yeah, right. All right, so Justin, what is your plan today? When we sign off at 8, are you going to head to the arena right away? Noon tip-off with Drake and Southern Illinois, right?
Yes. Yep, noon tip-off. That's the first game. I won't head straight there. I'm going to finish up posting my podcast, so if anyone wants to check it out, you can check it out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. I usually do Media Row now, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. With being in St. Louis, though, we're doing extra shows Saturday morning and Sunday morning, too.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah. So we'll probably finish that up around 10:30, grab something quick to eat, then head to the arena. And then, yeah, Drake SIU. Then you have Illinois State Belmont, which could possibly be the best game of the day because you have number 5 versus number 4. Some really fun matchups there. And then Bradley taking on Murray State, which Murray State had an historical game because Terrence Harcum, the starting guard, went 7 of 7 from beyond the 3-point line last night. And that broke a 23-year-old record in the Missouri Valley Conference tournament. That was held by, I have it here in my notes. I have all these pieces of paper from last night. Sean Jepson from Illinois State, and he did it against.
I remember Les Jepson.
I don't know if they are of relation. We are not of relation.
Gotta be. Last name Jepson, both played basketball, or they're related.
But he did it. That Jepson went 6 of 6 in 2002 against Drake. So that was the record for 23 years. And then it was broken last night by Murray State's Terrence Harcum. And then, of course, Valpo and UNI. So going to be another late night, but a fun one, too.
That is scheduled to tip off at 8:30 tonight.
Yep.
Okay. Long day of basketball for you, but I did screw up one thing earlier, by the way, and one of our listeners tried to correct me, and I forgot to correct this earlier. When we were talking about Iowa losing last night, and the game against Nebraska this weekend is essentially going to be a play-in game for the Big Ten tournament, I said that game was on Saturday. It's a Sunday tip-off with Iowa and Nebraska. It's a Sunday 11:30 tip-off. So sorry, I did say Saturday. I had Sunday written down in my book. I'm just an idiot. JT writes in, March Madness is fun to cover, but riding a freight elevator to get to the media meals.
I haven't had to ride the freight elevator yet, but I guess I'll stay away from it.
Have you had a chance to get to the? I mean, they're feeding you and everything like that down there, right? Okay.
Yeah,
right.
The media room is right where I walk in to pick up the credentials and everything. Megan and I have been trying to get, they play at the Enterprise Center where the Blues play. And we've been trying because she has family in Wentzville, which is about an hour outside of St. Louis. We've been trying to go to a St. Louis Blues game for a while now. And it's such a cool arena. It's unique to see a mid-major get such a big arena and as many people that come into it. So yes, it is very fun to cover. I love it.
I also want to give a tip of the cap to my friends at Grandview University. Grandview headed to another national tournament in wrestling, national championship. This is going to be a tough one for them, but amazing what Nick Mitchell and his team continue to do over there. And it deserves as much praise as we could possibly heap onto them. You know, we talked a lot of wrestling a couple weeks ago when Iowa lost to Penn State, when Iowa ended up getting Bo Bassett, when the state wrestling tournament happened and Southeast Polk was so dominant, set a new record for the amount of team points scored at the state tournament. All of those conversations in the background is Grandview. Grandview University, the most dominant NAIA program in any sport that you can think of. They're going for their 13th national title in the last 14 years.
I think that's pretty good.
I mean, it's okay if you're trying to win. If you like winning, they've done a pretty good job there. It's really impressive. I've been lucky enough to be a tiny little part of that program, just doing like some announcing for them and stuff since it very first got started. It's just amazing to see what they have built over there, the culture that they have, the type of athletes and men that Nick Mitchell and Paul Reedy are turning out, and a whole bunch of other teams. There's Grant Turner, a whole bunch of guys, Grant Henderson, that deserve some credit there and some recognition for turning that program into what it is. It's an absolute juggernaut. If you are a wrestling fan at all in the state of Iowa, you owe it to yourself to go check out some Grandview wrestling. It's the most dominant thing I've ever been a part of.
Graham,
that's right. She's playing with an accordion. But it's a
wait. I thought it was.
Yeah, it's a little ornament. We have all sorts of fun stuff in here. So this is an accordion. I don't know where this came. I do know where this came from. I do know. This.
All right, story time.
Yeah. This is my friend Jan Michelson's. Yeah, that's where that came from. That was Jan's. Yeah, I got a couple things in here from Jan. Here, hold on. Watch this. This is a fun one too. Watch this, Justin. You're gonna like this. Oh, did you know? So look at this. This is like a promotional item from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Huh? Look at that. It's a vest. It's Ferris's vest.
Dad, I should put it on my American Girl.
It doesn't have arms in it, honey, so you can't actually put it on. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
We'll get a knife.
Yeah.
All right. We also have a radio ornament.
Yeah, we got all sorts of stuff.
Like turn it and it makes noises.
We got all sorts of fun stuff. Justin, all right, tell me your predictions for today. Are we going to see Drake and UNI victorious by the end of the night?
I think so. I believe Drake. They're not going to blow anyone out. They're favored by 9.5 right now. SIU, which I think is pretty comfortable. And I think will be about right by the end of the day for the Drake Bulldogs. I just think I like the athleticism Drake has in terms of some of their depth players with Davion Banks. Isaiah Howard's been incredible. Kel Combs as well. But then when you have the player of the year in Sturts and someone like Mitch Muscari from just about court sets up well for a win over SIU. And then with UNI too, I think they have very similar styles as Drake in terms of defense. And while Valpo didn't have a great challenge last night, it will be tenfold against UNI because their defense and Ben Jacobson will definitely headaches for Valpo.
Got Illinois State Belmont at 2:30. The Murray State Bradley game scheduled to tip off at 6. Am I missing one in between there, Justin?
No, they do a little intermission.
Okay.
In between. So, yeah, that's when we were able to go grab some food for a little bit. And, yeah.
Got my little helper just hanging out.
I should say, though, I do want to, of course, thank Kelly's Little Nipper for being the title sponsor and letting me get here. But I wouldn't be here without the Little Nipper, and also you, Ross, and Agency Iowa. I wouldn't be here in St. Louis without you and the Rush and all you guys have been able to do for me. I do truly appreciate that. It means the world that you guys have been so willing to help me grow this thing and be a part of it.
This is, so Kelly's Little Nipper, your title sponsor down there, but I was happy to help you out, Justin. So, yeah, Ross Peterson with Agency Iowa, one of your sponsors there on your Arch Madness trip. But a big, big thank you to Kelly's Little Nipper for hopping in. Best hot sausage sandwich you're going to find in town, and I don't even know what's second.
Well, and I also love, like, Kelly's Little Nipper. It was such a big get because they do so much. It's not just beer. It's food, really good food. They do live music as well. So there's just so many opportunities and so many cool things to do. And it's such a big thing is community with Kelly's Little Nipper. You go in and you can be like, all right, let's drink and then you realize you've been there 3 hours because you struck up some conversation with some person you didn't know walking in. So yes, a huge
JT says the chicken strips are great and all the sandwiches slap.
Oh yeah, my dad gets the roast beef sandwich, the hot roast.
He gets
beef,
the hot roast beef. Yeah, it's been a staple, man. It's an iconic place here in Des Moines. If you're not familiar with it, it takes one time and you'll love it forever. Justin, final thing I want to talk to you about was a conversation I saw last night. I watched Barry Bonds was on he was on that podcast. It's kind of been taken off lately, man, but it's a bunch of NBA players. I'm drawing a blank on what the name of it is. It is a bunch of retired NBA players. Vernon Maxwell's been on it a lot lately. They have some really fascinating conversations. Barry Bonds was on it last night or this week. And they were asking Barry Bonds about Shohei Ohtani. And he had some interesting comments. So I'd like to kind of recap them with you and get your take on it, because they were asking him just about how great of a player he is, where he kind of fits in the history of baseball. And Barry Bonds was very complimentary. So this is amazing what this guy has done with pitching and hitting. He's just very, very good. But the game is so different now. He says, never, when I was playing, you never would have been able to hit multiple home runs in a game without some dude getting plunked. You never would have stolen 2 bases without some guy throwing a fastball off your kneecap to slow you down. Now, that same conversation used to happen, Justin, when I was a young man. They would say, the game has changed. You don't have the Bob Fellers anymore. You don't have the Bob Gibsons out there chucking at guys' heads. The game is soft. They said that when Barry Bonds was playing. For Barry Bonds to stand up and go, the game is softer than it used to be, there's a part of me that goes, yeah, that's right. It's not the same game. But there's also a part of me that says this is just the natural evolution. Thank you, Cole. All the Smoke is the podcast that he was on talking about this.
Check it out.
Basically saying, he didn't play in my era. He even relates it to Michael Jordan's comments. He says, I feel like Michael Jordan. The game is different. It's not the same game as it used to be.
And that's why I think it's funny these NBA guys are doing this happened on NBA podcast, because that's where you hear, I think, the biggest of, it's not the same, it's soft, is with the NBA. And I'm kind of with you, Ross. When I initially hear that, I do go, because you watch those highlights of the Detroit Pistons, like murdering Michael Jordan out there. But it's just a different era. It's that's why the GOAT conversations are useless, the debates, because it's all just what you grew up watching. If you grew up watching Michael Jordan and learning about him, that's your guy. Now, if you grew up watching LeBron, he's your guy. And now we're getting even to the point where there's going to be people saying, no, Curry's the GOAT, because there's been people growing up during the Warriors run.
I've already seen that. I've already seen people saying, hey, why isn't Steph Curry put above Kobe? Why isn't Steph Curry put above LeBron? He beat LeBron in the finals. If we're going to go by championships, he's beat LeBron. So anyway, it'll all change. It'll all change. Justin, I'm going to let you go, brother. You go have a wonderful day in St. Louis. I know that, again, we've got a noon tip-off with Drake. You're going to have your Media Row podcast out before that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It just finished downloading due to the internet. I had it finished last night, so I will get it up there at Media Row Pod, where you can check it out, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Well, buddy, thank you so much for giving me a couple of hours this morning on your trip. I'm happy to help you out with getting down there. This is, very happy. Just remember, when you're going to buy or sell a house, use Justin's sponsor, Ross Peterson from Agency Iowa. That's the phone number you can call, and that guy can help you buy or sell a house. That's this guy. Justin, thanks so much, buddy. Well, I'll chat. Hey, you're good on Tuesday? You want to come back with me on Tuesday? Travis is going to be gone. He'll be back on Monday live in Italy, and then he's going to miss Tuesday. Do you want to hop on with me again on Tuesday morning?
I could probably do Tuesday. Hold on, let me check my schedule. Yep, I'm good.
Thanks so much. Big thank you to all of our sponsors, all of you folks that listen and engage with us. The comment section always keeps us entertained, and we love being able to do this with you guys. So thank you so much. Big thanks to Willis Automotive and all of our sponsors, and we'll talk to you tomorrow morning here on The Rush, on therushradio.com.
Spring is in the air and the perfect time to take care of your vehicle. Your car has worked hard all winter. Now it's time to give it the care it deserves. Did you know spark plugs should be replaced every 60,000 miles on some newer turbocharged vehicles? Also, carbon deposits on the valves can disrupt the airflow of the engine. These simple services can keep your engine running smoothly, ensure you start every adventure with confidence. Visit Willis Chevrolet today and make sure your car is ready for the road ahead.
I'm loving these wooden nickels, Brian.
Yeah, I suppose everyone is catching on.
Just spend $20 to get a wooden nickel.
It's 25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings on your next purchase.
Some of these are worth $5. That could be huge.
I know, right? That's why you have to spend $20.
It's 25.
Collect 10. It's like money back to you.
Spend 20, you get another wooden nickel.
It's 25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings. It's huge.
Central City Liquors, home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the wooden nickel program.
It's huge. Do you have a pest problem? With over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's local expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly pest solutions at a fair price for your home or business. Call us today at 515-218-3400.
Believe it or not, spring is coming. When it does, be absolutely organized with custom garage or closet systems from Absolute Garage and Closets. Turn a winter mess into a spring success at our showroom in Urbandale or visit absolutegarage.net.
The largest selection of German beer in the world? You'll find it at the Hessen House. From Doppelbox to Oktoberfest to Hefeweizens and Dunkels, there's no passport needed for the deliciously different beer and food at the Hessen House. So grab your friends and make it a fun night out. The Hessen House, 4th and Court, Des Moines.